UW360 is proudly supported by Pacific Office Automation, copy, print, workflow, and IT. Problem solved.
Today on UW360, technology meets medicine in a life-saving combination. It's the incredible story we call Heart in a Box. Also, getting rid of all your unwanted stuff could be just a click away thanks to a couple of UW students and their new app called Stuffmapper. Plus, we'll go to high-tech summer camp with students from halfway around the world. We'll head to Friday Harbor to tour a research lab that's working to help save our oceans and see what happens behind the scenes on Husky football game day. Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW360. It sounds like science fiction, a human heart in a box, still beating, to be used in transplant surgery. But it's happening right here at the University of Washington. The UW Medicine Regional Heart Center was first in the nation to deploy the so-called heart in a box in a clinical trial. If successful, this incredible technology could transform heart transplantation in America. And recently, we met one of the first patients in the U.S. to benefit from this groundbreaking technology.
I feel like $1 million, actually.
Ted Daniels has a second chance at life.
I just thought I was a dude just getting a heart. You know, my card got drawn. I was the lucky choice.
The logging truck driver from Aberdeen was the lucky choice to receive a donor heart in the first U.S. transplant in a just-started trial of the organ care system, known as the heart in a box. The technology allows surgeons to pump blood through a heart and monitor the organ's function as it travels from a donor to a recipient.
I feel real good.
Ted, who was diagnosed with congestive heart failure a decade ago, is the first of dozens of patients around the country on whom doctors will be testing the new device.
I can honestly say that's a very proud moment to know that I am patient number one. The excitement is wound up that, you know, I'm kind of a trailblazer.
Our expectation every time we do a transplant is that we're doing the best possible surgery for our patients and that we're going to have an outstanding outcome. And so, though that's the expectation, there's still a sense of relief when things go as planned.
UW Medicine is one of 7 centers in the country taking part in the trial of TransMedics' portable organ care system, and the first to actually use it. The breakthrough technology, which is already being used in Europe, allows doctors to transport a donor heart from a much greater distance than before, up to 3,000 miles away, which greatly increases a transplant patient's chances of finding a heart. By continuing to circulate blood through a donor heart, the device can give surgeons 8 to 10 hours between harvest and transplant, as compared to only 4 to 6 hours with the traditional mode of organ transport using a cooler.
This is very exciting for us. We anticipate that he's going to do well for a very long time. And so that's exciting. The fact that we have used some technology to facilitate that is actually even more exciting.
Ted doesn't know who his donor was, only that his heart traveled 1,500 miles, still beating, to eventually be placed in his chest, a concept he calls mind-boggling.
The idea to live longer, I wasn't quite ready to check out. I got too much more stuff to do.
Which is why, despite enduring years of severe heart disease and now transplant surgery, Ted Daniels considers himself a lucky man.
I get more life. I get to see things that I never watched my girls grow up. Spend a couple more years with my wife. Might enjoy that.
Once the testing phase of the portable organ care system trial is complete, the results will go to the FDA for approval, hopefully sometime this year. Still ahead, Husky football is one of the rising sports stars in the country, but there's much more to a game than what you see on the field. We'll go behind the scenes to show you how Husky Game Day is created and crafted into a multimedia experience. Plus, we'll show you how the stunning San Juan Islands are the perfect backdrop for ocean research that's having a global impact. But first, why did college students from China decide to spend their summer vacation at the University of Washington? We'll find out as UW360 continues.
UW360's Husky Money Moment is made possible by the generous support of BECU. BECU, more than just money.
Welcome back to UW360. Got stuff? Who doesn't? From an old couch to an extra microwave to an outgrown bike, we all have stuff we don't want to sell, and yet we just can't bear to throw away. A couple of UW students are determined to solve this problem. They created an app, entered a contest, and now they have their own business. Here's their story in our BECU Husky Money Moment.
Meet Benji, a UW Foster School of Business alum who works at the Entrepreneur Center. He's currently developing a website and app that supports the free stuff movement.
I've always been fascinated with startups and technology and all that. We really have that happening on the West Coast, and I was fortunate enough to get into the Foster School of Business at Washington.
The Foster School of Business was an important factor in preparing Benji to develop a startup by creating rigorous coursework that exemplified the struggles of creating a business from scratch.
It was very obvious right from the beginning of engaging him that he was not just another undergrad taking the entrepreneurship class. He would be someone who is going to be very scrappy. It's something that we teach a lot, we say a lot in those classes, is that let's go get something done. And Benji was always very active.
In January 2014, Benji attended his first startup competition. But little did he know that his work would inspire professionals from all over the world.
There was a startup weekend I attended, pitched an idea on a Friday, and that idea turned into a team, and over the course of 54 hours we worked on an idea and pitched it to judges on Sunday and left with third place.
After a successful startup Euro Seattle, Benji consulted with his colleague Christina about changing the name to Stuffmapper and taking this idea somewhere.
Benji then one day said, like, I found it. Super excited because it phrased so nicely what we tried to accomplish, you know, and it was so easy, and I couldn't believe that the domain was taken. Actually, it's like, yeah, that's us, you know, like, sure.
So I get asked all the time, what is Stuffmapper? Stuffmapper is creating an app and website that lets people easily give and get free stuff like couches, clothes, TVs, odds and ends, or any other type of item that would eventually go to a landfill. And we don't want that.
This simple concept creates an opportunity for environmental change here on campus, as students are able to take advantage of this option while saving time and money.
So the students are going to be the first to benefit. We're based in the U District, so that's going to be the area we're focusing on. They'll be able to find a couch, a TV, a bed frame, whatever, when they move in and out. And they'll also be able to give things away easily. What's even more important, they'll be helping an environmental movement where reduce and reuse is a result of every transaction.
The app is beta testing now. You can learn more about it on their website, stuffmapper.com. Okay, how did you spend your last summer vacation? Several dozen students from Shanghai spent their vacation right here at UW, immersed in science and American culture. It's a successful partnership between the UW Department of Electrical Engineering and one of China's most respected universities. Austin Siedentoff takes us to summer school.
I didn't even believe that I can build a MP3 with so many simple components. So that was absolutely magnificent.
So where did you go boating and where did you have the picnic?
We go Union Lake.
Lake Union?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the first hands-on experience that many of the students had had. A few had dabbled in a few things that was similar, but for many students, this was the first time they ever built any kind of circuit. And the circuits, I think, are pretty complex given that. So they've done an excellent job.
The whole idea is, at the same time when they are here, they are able to get official credits they can transfer back, use for their graduation in Shanghai.
UW Electrical Engineering professor and Associate Chair for Global Affairs, Zhenan Huang, helped organize the program, along with his counterpart from Shanghai Jiao Tong University, Professor Hui Liu.
For our area specifically, which is IT technology, it's increasingly global. So the idea is to really prepare them to be able to compete and succeeding at a global stage.
In addition to the engineering classes, the students also took a course in American culture. Their final project was a poster highlighting what they had learned.
Your idea is very creative.
The students visited Seattle attractions, including the Pike Place Market. They also went on weekly field trips that gave them a first-hand look at American companies. Their destinations included Boeing, Microsoft, and Tableau Software. Liang Yihong says she'll encourage other classmates to participate in the program.
I would say that it will be very beneficial to them because you can experience the American culture yourself and experience the classes and to try to understand lessons in a different way. I think it's a great experience for me. I will have more confidence in my learning.
Hao Tian-Zhang wants to come back to the UW someday.
It inspired me to maybe go to graduate school here.
I would like to personally thank each one of you for successfully completing this program.
When they come here, they are dedicated to learn. Not only just they are dedicated to learn the class material, they are also dedicated to learn the outside environment, the culture.
I think the whole package is really what makes a difference.
The engineering schools from both universities say the goal is to make the program an annual summer exchange. Straight ahead on UW 360, it's one of the best kept secrets around, an acclaimed UW research facility tucked right into the heart of San Juan Island. We head to the San Juans to check out the Friday Harbor Labs and see how research there could help forecast ocean climates around the world. Welcome back to UW 360. Every year, hundreds of scientists and students from all over the world converge in the San Juan Islands. Their destination? The University of Washington's Friday Harbor Laboratories. As Stacy Sakamoto reports, it's all about research and our changing oceans.
We have been seeing changes in water temperature, changes in air temperature. We don't quite know what the long-term trends are, but we do know things are changing.
The ocean is changing, and so are the animals and plants that live in it. Researchers and students at the University of Washington's Friday Harbor Laboratories are studying and documenting these ocean conditions, just as they have for more than a century.
We're out here at Cantilever Point. It's the open point, exposed point at Friday Harbor Labs. And this is where a lot of the monitoring happens.
Emily Carrington is a professor in the UW Department of Biology. Carrington's weather station gathers data about the temperature, wind velocity, and salinity at Friday Harbor.
So if we see a change in, say, the kelp population, we now have some background information on what the conditions were like maybe 8 years ago and what might be different about this year.
Carrington's work focuses on ocean acidification. She says Friday Harbor is an ideal location for that research because the water is naturally more acidic.
Scientists hope that by studying the water here in Friday Harbor, they'll be better able to understand how marine life in the ocean is affected by warmer, more acidic water.
So we might see the effects of ocean acidification here before we see it in other parts of the oceans. We're 100 years ahead of the curve, and that's not a place we would really like to be.
Indoors, one of the labs is filled with large coolers. They're mesocosms, enclosed systems where temperature, chemistry, and light can be controlled by graduate students like Molly Roberts.
I love the work setup. I love being able to look at the ocean and be at the lab at the same time.
When students come here, we really can teach them how to do science.
Director Billy Swala says the labs have hosted hundreds of UW students and researchers from all over the world. The labs opened in 1904 after Trevor Kincaid, the university's only zoology professor at the time, convinced President Thomas Kane to open a marine lab. Kincaid picked the location in the San Juan Islands because he was impressed by the diversity of marine life. Its scenic location is a bonus.
There's this whole creativity that happens, I think, when you're in an area where it's a beautiful scenery, but also it's quiet. They can think, they can go take a walk, relax, come back, work.
We're here in Penn Cove on Whidbey Island, and
The work extends beyond Friday Harbor. Graduate student Laura Newcomb's research has taken her to Whidbey Island, where she's studying mussels at the Penn Cove Shellfish Company. As part of Professor Carrington's team, she's collecting data about the effect that changes in the water have on mussels' ability to cling to lines placed by growers.
And we have one at 7 meters, which is about the bottom of where the line is, so it kind of captures the conditions at the bottom of where mussels grow. And we have another one that sits closer to the surface to capture conditions at the top of where mussels grow.
Low pH in the water affects the glue that mussels make to attach to both rocks in nature and the aquaculture ropes out at the farm. And so if the pH drops too low, the mussels will literally tumble off these aquaculture ropes down to the seafloor, and they won't be harvestable.
Carrington and her team are trying to find answers that could help shellfish growers, other scientists, and everyone who benefits from the ocean. Swala says that's all of us.
The covering of the earth is ocean, and there's so many important things that we get from the ocean that it's really critical to our survival.
The Friday Harbor Labs are an amazing place, not just for research, but for the arts. The Helen R. Whiteley Center is also located there. It's a retreat where artists and scholars can write and create. When we come back,
into the end zone, touchdown.
Go behind the scenes to see how the UW is transforming Husky football into a total game day experience as UW 360 continues. Welcome back to UW 360. Fans have been packing Husky Stadium for nearly a century. We all know how football has transformed over the decades, but the changes aren't just on the field. Today's Husky game entertains fans from the moment they arrive to long after the final whistle. And as you're about to see, it's all by a carefully planned design.
Washington bounces out to the right side at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington.
You hear it.
Enjoy the ball game. How can you not enjoy the ball game when I do it like this?
You see it. Husky Stadium exploding with excitement.
We're trying to just have a great atmosphere, a party atmosphere, and from young to old, they just have a great time here at Husky Stadium.
It's a game plan that's difficult to pull off.
Hey ladies, have your bags out, ready for search!
Hundreds of volunteers and staff members teaming up, helping entertain more than 70,000 dog fans.
Dog fans, we ask that you be enthusiastic.
I get reports from my friends. They love it when I say, third down. So that's the fun part for me.
Fans, Husky Athletics.
It gives me goosebumps to think back, coming here as a fan. We had the great Wendell Broyles, was the voice here for at least 25 years. And he was followed by the legendary Lou Gellerman as the voice in this stadium.
Hello, dog fans. Welcome to Husky Stadium.
It's just an honor to stand in their shoes and be the third voice in the last 50 years of Husky football from the stadium.
Here we are, and this is where all the magic happens before kickoff. The band's here, the cheerleaders, the announcers, making this Husky production perfect on game day.
we actually start back in the spring planning the themes, selecting the music, arranging the music, and starting the drill. And then the kids report and we start right in. So they don't have weeks or months to prepare. Usually it's 1 week, 2 weeks at the most to prepare a show from start to finish.
1, 2. So we usually get here about 4 or 5 hours before the game starts. Run through how the game's gonna go over all our timeouts, all the special marketing stuff that we're gonna do, and then we get ready for the team to arrive.
It's kind of a full-time job.
What we're doing behind the scenes is we're preparing for what goes on when the ball is kicked in the air. My job is to make sure the video boards are entertaining, the sound quality, and we have the best music playing. We have a great team here that puts that all together.
Roll it. Go video. All right.
But your game day experience isn't all produced out of Husky Stadium. Tucked away in a small room a few hundred yards outside the stadium, Rick Garza quarterbacks his team, calling the shots from Heck Ed.
When timeout on the field, we have all this stuff we have to get done. From the time the crew gets here 5 hours before the game until the game is over, there is no downtime. There's no break at all.
And wipe back to 1.
You have everybody doing their job. And if everybody does their job, then the show goes off without a hitch. Yeah, yeah, high five, and then we fall.
Near side, close to the boundary, ball is caught. Nickens inside the 5 and pushed out of bounds.
I think football is probably a little bigger production. Our broadcast is more substantial for that.
Game day, a win-win for the fans. A symphony behind the scenes.
Husky Athletics believes in providing a first-class experience for all of our guests.
Orchestrated to perfection.
Washington at the far hash on
and
the left.
only getting better.
Saturday afternoons at Husky Stadium with 77,000 people here. It's magic.
It's the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington.
You can be right in the middle of the Husky fan experience, not only at football games, but at other sports, from basketball to baseball, softball, and gymnastics too. Something for every dog. And that does it for this edition of UW360. If you'd like more information on any of the stories you saw today, just head to our website at uwtv.org/UW360. You'll also find us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Carolyn Douglas. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with all news stories from the University of Washington.